Yeah, well, anticipation's great, but so is just hanging out. We don't have to rush into anything. How about another ride? Serena tilted her head, looking at him closely. You're trying to distract me. Is this part of the game as well? Not everything is part of a game, Lucas said with a chuckle, although even he wasn't sure what part of this was a game anymore. Sometimes we just relax. We enjoy each other's company. Serena leaned back, her expression softening. Humans are far more complex than I anticipated. On Villara, everything is structured and purposeful. But you enjoy the chaos. You thrive in it, Lucas grinned. That's one way to look at it. We like to keep things interesting. Life's too short to always stick to the plan. Serena's eyes glowed softly as she considered his words. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps there is more to this mating ritual than I first thought. Lucas laughed nervously. Yeah, you could say that. But Serena added with a sly smile, I still expect you to show me the full process. The study is incomplete. Lucas's face turned bright red. We're going to take things slow, remember? One step at a time. So tell me, what do Velarans do if they don't flirt like humans? Just jump straight to the main event. Serena nodded seriously, as if he'd asked a deep question. Exactly. When two Velarans agree to mate, we do not waste time with distractions. We identify compatibility, make the decision, and then we mate like animals, as you put it. Lucas chuckled nervously. Yeah, about that. Humans aren't exactly animals. We like to make it a bit more complicated. Serena repeated, intrigued. Is this where the emotional part comes in? You enjoy making things difficult for yourselves? Not difficult, Lucas said, trying to explain without getting too flustered. More like building anticipation. The longer you wait, the more exciting it becomes. Serena raised an eyebrow. You mean humans increase pleasure by delaying it? She looked at him with fascination, as if she'd just discovered a new scientific breakthrough. This is remarkable. Velarans have never considered such a strategy. We always aim for efficiency, but perhaps there is merit in this human method of anticipation. Lucas coughed, trying to change the subject before things got any steamier. Serena sat back down, looking thoughtful. So, how do humans tease? Is it less dramatic? Lucas smirked, feeling like he finally had the upper hand. It's more subtle. You throw little comments at each other, playful ones like, "For an alien, you're pretty bad at reading human body language." Serena's eyes narrowed. Bad? You mean I am not skilled at this teasing? It's a start. But there's a lot more to learn. Lucas teased back, enjoying the game. I mean, you could stand to learn a few things about personal space too. Serena didn't back away. Instead, she leaned even closer, her lips hovering just by his ear. Her voice low and smooth. Personal space. Is that what's bothering you, human? Or are you simply struggling to handle the proximity of an alien? Lucas swallowed hard, feeling the heat rise to his face. Okay, now you're getting the hang of it, he muttered, trying to stay composed. Serena smiled, clearly pleased with herself. So humans enjoy this push and pull. Interesting. It seems inefficient, but I will continue. Studying, sure, Lucas said with a smirk, trying to regain some control of the conversation. There, tension, she said with utmost seriousness. Lucas blinked. What? What are you doing? I've applied pressure to your cranial region, she said, as if explaining simple logic. You said build tension. I am following your instructions. Lucas burst out laughing. No, Serena, not that kind of tension. It's more like, well, it's the kind where two people are attracted to each other and they flirt, they tease, she interrupted, her face brightening with excitement. I know this word. I've seen it in your human media. She stood up suddenly, struck a dramatic pose, and in the most exaggerated, over-the-top voice said, "Oh, Lucas, you foolish human. Are you too weak to handle the charms of a Velaran warrior?" Lucas nearly fell off the bench laughing. Where did you even learn that? Serena straightened up proudly. Your Earth dramas are highly educational. They taught me that teasing involves making the other person feel confused and weak. Was my performance satisfactory? Lucas wiped tears of laughter from his eyes. I'm pretty sure you've got the wrong idea of what teasing is, but hey, for effort. Exactly, Lucas said, surprised at how quickly she was catching on. Then, human, Serena said, leaning in a little closer, her voice dropping to a lower, more serious tone. Shall we continue the ritual now? Lucas blinked, the playful tone in her voice catching him off guard. He couldn't tell if she was serious or just teasing him. Either way, this was going to be one interesting night. Lucas swallowed nervously as Serena leaned in even closer, her shimmering silver eyes fixed on his. Her expression was a strange mix of curiosity and intensity that made it hard for him to tell if she was being serious or just messing with him. He cleared his throat, trying to lighten the mood. "Well, Serena, we can't just jump straight into that part. Humans like to take things slow, remember? Build up some tension, Serena repeated, her lips curving into a playful smirk. Is this another step in the human mating ritual? Do I create tension by getting closer? She slid even nearer, her face inches from his, her body language completely ignoring the concept of personal space. Lucas's pulse quickened. Yeah, but not like before he could finish. Serena suddenly lifted her arm and gently poked his forehead. Show me how humans flirt. Is it a ritual dance? Do we chant? Lucas laughed, realizing this was going to be more complicated than he thought. Not quite. Flirting is more like playful teasing. He smirked, deciding to give her a taste. For example, if I wanted to flirt with you, I'd say something like, "So, you crash landing into my life like this, is that just your way of saying you like me?" Serena blinked again, her intense stare unwavering. "I crashed into your life because your planet's gravitational pull is weaker than I expected. But if this liking is part of your ritual, then, yes, I suppose I like you." She tilted her head. "Is that how humans initiate the mating?" Lucas sighed but couldn't help grinning. "No, Serena. It's not about liking in that way. It's about getting to know each other first. Understanding what makes the other person tick." Serena pondered this, then nodded. "Very well, human. I shall study you. Tell me more. What happens next in your strange human rituals?" Lucas leaned against the railing, amused by her eager, almost childlike curiosity. "All right, next we usually talk. Maybe we share a meal, go for a walk, do something fun together." "Is that how it begins? You cough?" "Fascinating." No, Lucas held up his hands, trying to keep a straight face. "It's just. You don't just ask that. We have, rules. You don't jump straight into the mating stuff. We build up to it." Serena looked genuinely puzzled. "Build up to what? On my planet, we decide, and then we execute the action. It's efficient." She paused, a playful smile curling on her lips. "Or are you saying humans are slow?" Lucas raised an eyebrow, feeling his competitive side kicking in. "Slow? We're not slow. We just take our time because, well, it's about connection, chemistry. You know, emotions. Serena's voice was laced with curiosity. "How curious." "Velarans have no use for such things." She got even closer, almost nose to nose with Lucas. "Show me this." Chemistry. Lucas could feel the heat rising to his face. This alien had zero concept of boundaries, and her intense stare wasn't helping. "It's not that simple. Humans don't just mate for the sake of it. We flirt, we talk, we spend time together." "Flirt?" Serena interrupted, mimicking his every word like she was learning a new language. In a quiet, futuristic city, Lucas, a charming and quick-witted human, was enjoying the calm of the evening when a loud crash shook his apartment. Startled, he rushed to the balcony, only to find an alien spacecraft hovering just above his building. As the dust settled, the door of the spacecraft opened, revealing a tall, elegant alien girl with shimmering blue skin and silver hair. "Greetings, human," she said confidently, stepping out of the craft. "I am Serena from the planet Velara. I've been sent here to learn about your kind." Lucas blinked, trying to process what was happening. Hey, Serena, right? You're not exactly blending in with Earth's vibe." Serena tilted her head, confused. "Blending in? Is this how humans communicate?" She took a few steps closer, invading his personal space without hesitation, examining him like a specimen. "I came here because I need answers. My people said humans are strange. They say you mate like animals." She blinked her large, glowing eyes. "I want you to show me how it's done." Lucas coughed, nearly choking on his drink. "Excuse me." Serena's eyes narrowed in curiosity. Serena gave a thoughtful nod. "Very well. I will allow this slow build-up, but you should know, human Velarans are very thorough in their studies." Lucas's heart skipped a beat. "Oh, I have no doubt about that." They continued walking through the carnival, Serena now picking up on more human behaviors with an almost eerie level of focus. She watched couples holding hands, kids playing games, and friends laughing together, all with the same intense curiosity she'd shown when they first met. Lucas, she said suddenly, do humans always? Touch so casually, Lucas raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? She gestured around to the people around them. I observe humans touching each other frequently, holding hands, hugging, even kissing. Is this also part of your rituals? Yeah, Lucas said, rubbing the back of his neck. Humans are pretty touchy, especially when they're close. It's a way of showing affection. You know, connection. Serena's eyes flicked to him, her lips curling into a mischievous smile. Shall I experiment with this as well? Would you like me to show you? Affection human? With a flick of her wrist, Serena effortlessly tossed the ring, and it landed perfectly around one of the bottles on her first try. Lucas stared at her, his mouth slightly open. Wait, how did you do that? Serena smiled innocently. I told you, Lucas. Velarans are very precise when it comes to hitting their targets, Lucas chuckled, shaking his head. Okay, you win this round. Serena's eyes gleamed as she stepped closer, her voice dropping to that dangerously playful tone again. But don't worry, Lucas. I'm sure you'll have another chance to impress me. Eventually, Lucas could feel his heart racing again as she leaned in just a little too close for comfort. Yeah, well, I'll make sure I hit the mark next time. Oh, I have no doubt you will, Serena replied. Her words layered with meaning that sent Lucas's mind spinning. They continued walking through the carnival, Serena now practically glued to his side. Lucas couldn't tell if she was just toying with him or if this was all part of her research, but either way, she was keeping him on edge. And she knew it. So, Serena said after a while, her tone more serious, when do humans usually let go of their tension? Lucas's face flushed again and he stammered, let's not rush that part. Okay, Serena's smile widened, clearly enjoying the effect she was having on him. Very well. But know this, Lucas Velarans do not forget their studies. I will learn everything there is to know about human connection. Lucas let out a nervous laugh, realizing that this adventure with Serena was only just beginning, and from the way she was looking at him, he knew that things were about to get even more interesting. As they walked through the carnival, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that Serena was studying him a little too closely. Every step he took, she was right beside him, observing everything he did with an almost scientific level of intensity. It was like she was trying to decode his every move. So, Lucas, she said, breaking the silence, you said earlier that humans like to build tension, right? Yeah, he replied cautiously. Knowing where this might lead, it's kind of part of the fun. Serena nodded thoughtfully. And this tension, it's supposed to make things more pleasurable in the end. Lucas felt a bead of sweat form on his forehead. Lucas raised an eyebrow. Let go? You mean like, relax? Serena nodded. Yes, I suppose you could say that. At what point do they stop holding back? Lucas scratched his head, not entirely sure how to answer that without making it sound even more suggestive than she was probably intending. Well, usually when things feel right. You know, when both people are ready. Serena's eyes lit up with curiosity. And what happens if one person is ready, but the other is still holding back? Lucas laughed awkwardly. Well, that can get a little complicated. Humans need to be on the same page. It's all about timing. Serena seemed to ponder this for a moment, her expression thoughtful. So it's like a game of balance then. One must not rush, but also not hold back too much, or the pleasure is diminished. Lucas rubbed his temples. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Serena's mischievous smile returned. Interesting. Velarans don't worry about such complexities. When we decide to act, we actually paused, her voice dropping to a hushed tone. Perhaps humans would enjoy things more if they let go of their hesitation. Well, yeah, you could say that. Her silver eyes sparkled mischievously. Then perhaps I should create more tension, yes? Is that how I will get the full human experience? Hua. Slow down, Lucas said with a nervous chuckle. Tension isn't just about how close you get. It's about the build-up, the teasing, the anticipation. Remember, Serena tilted her head. Ah, yes, the anticipation. Humans enjoy the wait, delaying the final act to maximize their pleasure. Fascinating. Her eyes flicked to his lips for a split second before returning to his gaze. And how long does this anticipation usually last? Lucas swallowed hard. It depends, you know, could be a while. No need to rush anything. Serena gave him a sly smile. I see. So you prefer the long game, Lucas? Drawing it out until the very last moment. Lucas's heart was pounding now. Well, it's not really a game, but it is, isn't it? Serena interrupted, her voice soft but playful. She stepped closer again, her hand lightly brushing against his arm. This is your ritual. Your way of increasing tension. She let her fingers linger for a moment longer than necessary. I think I understand now. Lucas could feel the tension rising between them again, and he quickly tried to change the subject. Hey, how about we grab some food? You've got to try funnel cake. It's delicious. Serena's eyes sparkled with amusement. Ah, a new distraction. Very well, human. Lead the way as they approached the food stand. Lucas couldn't help but feel like Serena was still testing him, pushing boundaries in ways he wasn't quite prepared for. But as he handed her a piece of funnel cake, watching her take a curious bite, he realized that this was just the beginning of their wild adventure. Serena licked the powdered sugar from her fingers, her eyes meeting his with that familiar playful glint. This is sweet, she said, her voice smooth as silk. Humans enjoy sweet things, don't they? Lucas nodded, swallowing hard. Yeah, sweet things are pretty popular, Serena smirked, leaning in once more. Perhaps you'll show me more sweet things before the night is over. Lucas nearly choked again, quickly stuffing a piece of funnel cake into his mouth to cover his flustered expression. Yeah, we'll see about that. Humans like to touch. But not too much. Yes, Lucas felt his throat go dry. Yeah, something like that. Serena's smile widened, clearly enjoying herself. So if I were to get closer, like this, she moved even closer, her body nearly pressed against his. Her breath warm on his neck. ... I would be creating more tension. Lucas's voice cracked slightly as he said, yeah, that's definitely one way to put it. She leaned in, her lips almost brushing his ear. But tell me, Lucas, when do humans decide the tension has reached its peak? When do they release it? Lucas's mind was spinning. This alien was playing a very dangerous game, and she seemed to be winning. He cleared his throat, trying to regain some control. Well, it's different for everyone. Some people like to draw it out, others, well, they prefer a faster approach. Serena raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. And which do you prefer? Human. Her voice was low, sultry, the teasing tone unmistakable now, the slow, steady build-up, or the quick, intense release. Lucas coughed awkwardly, desperately trying to keep things from spiraling too far. I think we've built up enough tension for one night, don't you? As they continued through the carnival, Lucas couldn't help but wonder just how far Serena was planning to take this study, but one thing was for sure: this was going to be the most tension-filled night of his life. And somehow, he had a feeling it wasn't going to end anytime soon. As the night carried on, Lucas and Serena found themselves sitting by the Ferris wheel, the lights of the carnival twinkling in the background. The air was cooler now, but the heat between them hadn't lessened one bit. Lucas was both amused and terrified by how quickly Serena had taken to this whole human tension thing. So, Lucas, Serena said, breaking the silence, you've been teaching me all about this human tension and build-up. But I have one final question. Lucas was almost afraid to ask. Oh yeah? What's that? She leaned in closer, her lips inches from his ear, her voice low and dripping with mischief. When do humans finally release all that tension? Lucas gulped. His heart was pounding, and he was running out of clever ways to deflect. Well, when the moment feels right. Maybe we should cool things off a bit. Serena laughed softly, a sound that was both sweet and mischievous. Ah, I see. You're trying to retreat. Is this part of your human flirting as well? Keeping the other person guessing, Lucas shot her a sideways glance. You're really picking up on this stuff fast. Thank you, Serena replied, her eyes twinkling with amusement. I'm a quick learner, and I find this flirting ritual of yours quite enjoyable. She paused, leaning closer again, her voice dropping to a whisper. But don't worry, Lucas. I won't push you too far. Not yet. Lucas breathed a sigh of relief, though he wasn't entirely sure she was done with her teasing. As they continued walking through the carnival, Serena's curiosity never wavered. They passed by a photo booth, and Lucas decided to change the mood before things got too heated again. Hey, want to take a picture? He asked, pointing to the booth. Serena blinked. A picture? Why, it's fun, Lucas explained, leading her toward it. Humans like capturing moments. You know, memories. Serena followed him inside, and they sat down in the small booth. Serena tilted her head, her eyes gleaming. And how do you know when that moment is right? Lucas ran a hand through his hair, trying to buy time. No. It's a feeling like when you're both on the same wavelength, Serena smirked. Interesting. So you would say we're on the same wavelength now. Lucas was pretty sure his face was about to burst into flames. There's definitely something going on here. Serena's smile widened, her gaze flicking to his lips. Then perhaps the moment has arrived, Lucas. You've built up so much tension, and I think it's time to see if you can handle the release. Before he could respond, Serena closed the distance between them, her lips brushing against his. It was soft, but electric, and for a split second, Lucas forgot how to breathe. His mind raced, and all the tension that had been building between them suddenly snapped. But just as Lucas was about to lose himself in the moment, Serena pulled back, her eyes twinkling with amusement. Is this what humans call letting go? Lucas blinked, trying to recover from the shock. Yeah. Something like that. As the camera flashed, Serena stared directly at it with her usual serious expression, while Lucas tried to make a funny face. When the strip of photos slid out, he handed them to her. She studied the pictures closely, her lips curling into a smile. You look ridiculous, she said, holding up the one where Lucas had crossed his eyes and stuck out his tongue. That's the point, he said with a grin. It's supposed to be fun. Serena tilted her head, examining the photos again. Then, without warning, she leaned in and kissed Lucas on the cheek, just as the camera flashed again. Lucas's eyes widened, and he turned to look at her. What was that for? Serena smirked, handing him the final photo strip. Humans like surprises too, don't they? Lucas stared at the photo. Serena, with a sly smile, kissing him on the cheek while he sat there looking completely stunned. Yeah, he said softly, still in shock. We do. Serena leaned back in her seat, clearly satisfied with herself. Good. I will continue surprising you then. I want to see just how much tension we can build before we reach the peak. Lucas chuckled nervously. You're really enjoying this, aren't you? Serena sat back, clearly pleased with herself. Fascinating. It seems humans have quite a unique way of expressing their desires. She paused, her playful smile returning. But I must say, this release you speak of, it's more intense than I expected. Lucas let out a nervous laugh, still trying to catch his breath. Yeah, it can be pretty overwhelming. Serena's gaze softened, her teasing tone replaced by something more genuine. You've taught me a lot tonight, Lucas, about tension, release, and everything in between. She leaned in one final time, her voice barely above a whisper. But there's one thing I think I understand now. Humans like to keep the tension going, don't they? Even after the release. Lucas smiled, finally feeling like he could breathe again. Yeah, you could say that. It's not about just one moment. It's about the whole journey. Serena nodded, her expression thoughtful. Then let's continue our journey, human. This is only the beginning. As the Ferris wheel began to turn, lifting them into the sky, Lucas couldn't help but laugh. He had no idea where this wild ride with Serena was headed, but one thing was for sure: it was going to be filled with tension, teasing, and surprises at every turn. Serena's eyes sparkled again. Very much so. Human. They stepped out of the photo booth, and Lucas tried to regain his composure. All right, enough flirting for now. Let's go check out the rest of the carnival. Serena nodded, though the playful gleam in her eyes hadn't faded. As they wandered through the carnival, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. Every step he took, Serena was right there, watching him, teasing him, and pushing boundaries in ways he never expected. So, Lucas, she said after a few moments of silence, when do you plan to show me how humans mate? Lucas nearly choked on his drink again. Serena's face was perfectly serious, but there was a playful glint in her eyes. You did promise. Remember? I'm waiting. Lucas sighed, realizing he wasn't going to escape this conversation. Okay, fine. But here's the thing, Serena, humans don't just, mate like animals. We need more than just a decision. We need connection. It's about feelings and chemistry, and all that stuff we talked about earlier. Serena nodded thoughtfully, as if absorbing every word. And just before they reached the top of the wheel, Serena leaned in close, her voice filled with playful mischief one last time. So, Lucas, when do we start building up the tension again? Lucas grinned, shaking his head. I have a feeling we never stopped, and with that, they continued their journey, the tension between them far from over. But this time Lucas was ready for whatever Serena had in store. The end Or maybe just the beginning. I see. So, when will we reach this chemistry you speak of? Lucas rubbed his temples, trying to figure out how to explain human emotions to an alien without turning bright red. It's not something you can rush. It happens naturally when two people click. Serena gave him a mischievous grin. And do we click? Lucas gulped, his face heating up again. I don't know. Do we? Serena leaned in once more, her lips almost brushing his as she whispered, I think we're getting closer to it. Lucas couldn't help but laugh, though his nerves were definitely getting the best of him. You really don't know when to quit, do you? Serena smiled. Not when the experiment is going so well, Lucas sighed. He had a feeling this was going to be the most tension-filled study of his life. Lucas was starting to think he had seriously underestimated Serena's commitment to this study. Every moment with her felt like a test of his sanity and his willpower. As they walked past a ring toss game, he could feel her eyes on him, practically burning holes in his back with her intense gaze. So, Lucas, Serena said with that familiar teasing tone, if humans enjoy all this tension and teasing, then how do they know when to let it go? Lucas glanced at her, trying to keep his cool. Well, you kinda just feel it, it builds up and then eventually you reach a point where you can't hold back anymore. Serena's lips curved into a sly smile. Ah, I see. So you're saying humans like to hold back until it becomes unbearable. Lucas rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the heat creep up his face again. Yeah, something like that. Serena leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a low, sultry whisper. And tell me, Lucas, how close are we to that point right now? Lucas coughed, trying to regain control. Well, we're definitely not there yet. Serena's smirk widened. Are you sure? You seem tense, human. Perhaps we're closer than you think. Lucas let out a nervous laugh, trying to redirect the conversation. Okay, how about we focus on something else for a minute? Like, I don't know, this ring toss game. It's fun. Trust me. Serena raised an eyebrow, intrigued by his sudden subject change, but clearly not willing to drop her playful approach. Very well. But I expect you to show me how it's done. She glanced at the rings, and then back at him with a mischievous glint. It looks simple, like humans trying to aim and hit their target. Surely you're good at that. Lucas grinned, despite himself. Oh, I'm great at hitting my target. Watch and learn. He grabbed one of the rings and expertly tossed it, missing the target by a mile. Serena let out a small laugh and Lucas turned to her with mock indignation. Hey, that was a warm-up. Serena smiled, clearly enjoying his embarrassment. You missed by quite a distance, human. Perhaps your aim needs more. Practical. Lucas shook his head, trying again, and this time he actually got the ring around one of the bottles. He threw his hands up in triumph. See? Told you I could do it. Serena clapped slowly, clearly teasing him. Impressive. It only took you 2 tries. Lucas shot her a look. Okay, your turn, Miss Perfect Aim. Let's see what you've got. Serena picked up a ring and examined it, turning it over in her hands. So I just throw it. And hit the target exactly, Lucas said, still riding the high of his minor victory. Let's see if your alien skills are up to the challenge.